Hello, it's time for a garden tour. May 4th, and all is well. Let's see if we can feel some of that force in the far north food forest. Here's another garden tour. This is the west side, or the front of our land, as the road turns into our croft just here. So this garden looks out to the west. There's a windmill over there somewhere. I think King Charles has been looking for cuckoos. Well, there's at least 2 of them here in our forest garden. Sure you recognise blackcurrants. Blackthorn here, rose rugosa, plum tree. Actually, this on the left is a green gage plum tree. So that's looking out to the west. Most of the wind comes from there. Lovage, valerian, chives, lemon balm, alchemilla, lovely young horse chestnut. a little pond round here. Plenty of flagarises. Can be a bit invasive. There's a lot of nitrates around. They do clean up the nitrates, which is good. And there's some soapwort just on the left side of this pond. There's a spirea at the back, which survives really well up here. Oregano. And wild garlic on the ground there, close to coming into flower. A few salmon berries in here, blackcurrant. Some salmonberry flower there. So that's, I won't go any further in that direction for the moment. Let's just listen to that cuckoo. Okay, so there's quite a few changes here and there with weather and just general overhaul in different areas. So let's see where we are. I mean, this area here still needs quite a bit of work. You can see the ground there, the ground elder has taken over. And that's a bit of a warning to be careful when you exchange plants with somebody that they don't have ground elder. We had a few currant bushes a few years ago and they quickly introduced ground elder, which has never diminished. I know we can eat it, but sometimes I wish there was less of it. So we continue to manage and work with that. Okay, so this, I'm looking sort of north now. You can see this is where the house is. You can see just through that gateway, that takes you out to the north and the Orkney Isles. So here we have some the elder trees at the moment doing very well. They got very damaged by the wind last year, but they're doing quite well. So we have roses here, which Rebecca looks after, and she wants them to be tall this year, which may not help that Cox's orange pippin in the centre there, but it seems to be flowering quite well, and indeed is getting protection from the northeast, as you can see behind it. Seabuckthorn. I have to cut that back to give it some light. I'm sure there's a bit of help there in its nitrogen fixing. There's a beautiful tree there, field maple, and this one in the foreground, of course, the cherry tree, which reaches out ever more every year. Okay, so let's carry on. Currant bushes here, blackcurrant, whitecurrant over there. We have an elder tree that's emerged in the middle of that. Lots of comfrey around here. You may remember me mulching this last year, and it's given us even more comfrey, which is good. Just to the east of the property, our land stretches over towards, you can be able to see through the trees there, to the back fields where our horses roam, and beyond that is Lock of May and Castle of May. So in here you may have seen already that we're creating a spiral. At the moment it's with willows, they're sort of marking the way. But we're going to make a spiral forest garden in here. So it's in its early stages at this moment. You may notice there we've got that hay ring in the centre, and that's how we actually created it. I'm just moving some willows over to a willow spiral that we're creating over there. I say willow spiral, it's maybe more of a willow maze, which is going to be the intersection between two fields. Anyway, let's look at the foliage. This is a redcurrant here, got mint coming, pushing its way through the ground elder, and some summer berries, which we love. Ash tree behind it. Let's move on. More redcurrant. More redcurrant. Here a blackcurrant. Field maple. Blackberry here, which we'll have to remove. This polytunnel, we're going to make it into a polytunnel. It's been a little bit of a bird protection area for currant bushes, but we're going to take those currants that are still left in there out of there and make that back into a polytunnel. It's got the framework you can see there, obviously. We'll just need the plastic cover. On the ground here we have Jack by the hedge, garlic mustard, Siberian purslane with little pink flowers there. Plenty of work to do in this area just to manage, but I don't mind it. It's exciting to see everything growing. So, apple tree here, which is doing very, very well. Blackcurrant bushes, dandelions. I love the dandelions. Some comfrey in the centre here. We've got mint coming up. More comfrey. There's the plum tree just here. And a pear tree here, and another plum over there. Some summer berries, blackcurrant. Some rhubarb down there, chives, a dandelion, more dandelions, honesty there, which is edible of course. You may hear a cuckoo in the background. I believe Prince Charles said that they're all disappeared, or King Charles, sorry. But actually, we have them here. Although other birds seem to chase them off quite often. Yeah, that's the Siberian pea, so that's nitrogen fixing. And then we have this golden willow hedge that's protecting this area. Here, this area here has changed somewhat and is not finished yet. This is going to be the new compost area. So we may also make a few cold frames in here too, or maybe even combine both. And here, the beginning, will be a pergola here for this rose, which we've tried to go up into the trees, which it is doing, and across the caravan, but it wants to come this way. It's coming towards the light, of course. So we're going to make a pergola for it to help it along. Lots of periwinkle along there. This is just one of the areas where I do some preparation work, pot up various things. And these are all lime trees, by the way, which I'll probably put in here. There's an oak tree there that's not actually out yet, and an ash. In here there's meadow sweet. There's also valerian you can see along there. Lots of campion. And the Siberian purslane. There's a three-cornered leek there. Another alder tree just here. We had a willow come down in here. We've cut back quite a lot of the willow that fell. Still some of it that could come out, but it's actually still alive, so we're going to leave it there for the time being. And here you can see the big gap that is now was the centre of this tree that got blown down in the wind, broke in several places. But now it's quite an inviting arch. Well, maybe an inverted arch. Blackcurrants, lots of blackcurrants. It's in this area. Oh, it's tie long. That's a great cat. So then you can see this area, there's much more of the food in here, and these are little areas of, I suppose, miniature food forest. There's an apple tree in the centre there, comfrey, sweet cicely, and lots of ground cover. The valerian purslane still coming up. There's some rhubarb in there. Yeah, there's even a nettle if you're really interested in that. Then there's some kale there. That's Taunton Dean. It's alive, but just being eaten at the moment by slugs, probably. Snails. There's another area here, ground cover. You can see Siberian purslane, some chives, some strawberries. And along the edges here, you can see this is a yellow variety of the comfrey, local sort of version. I'll put in the notes what type it is, the variety that is. Symphytum. And an apple tree in there. Comfrey. I have to do some cutting back here so it's got enough light. Or possibly it will grow. We'll see what happens with that. And again, more the same. Raspberries in this area, and behind there that's hazel. It did flower a little bit this year, so maybe we'll get some hazelnuts this year. You can see here some of the alders. Not very many leaves out yet. There's a few on that branch there, but they're the slowest really to come out, along with the oaks. Some mint in there. So, big tractor going by. So all of this area we've had to cover over as the grass, particularly couch grass, is continuing to try and encroach. So we're trying to stop that doing that. This area has been extended, so the gooseberries now go further out. So if I take you back to this bridge here, so this is the other end of where we're going to be putting the compost area. And there's another part of the room. A lot of roses in there, rosemary and roses. Lots of comfrey, dandelions. Apple tree in here that's recovering. Seems to be okay actually. Spirea. So as you move in here, this is where the gooseberries were, but now we've created a path along here, which is some, well, as well as that dock, that's mint, growing along here. Silver birch, golden willows, more southernberry here, dog rose, and yeah, spruce. Along here we have potatoes that we're growing. This is an ongoing planting, so it's not finished here. So mushrooms here. So these areas actually in the centre of the garden, let me just show you briefly. You can follow how that works. The lime tree in here, we can eat the leaves, the young leaves. So in here, these are our mushrooms. So 7 layers in a forest garden, or 9 layers if you include maybe the mycelium. So this is our mycelium. These are mushrooms growing in here. These will be oyster mushrooms growing on these willow logs. This will be an aquatic area which will have lots of edible aquatics, watercress. These will have to be upgraded, so this is where we grew some of our trees, either new trees that we were trying out or trees that we were bringing on. This year we're going to be bringing on alders, lots of alders to plant out in here, and then from there we'll put them into pots and then either sell them or give them away or plant them somewhere else on the forest. Same here, this is also getting an overhaul. These raised beds, they're made in the hugel structure, so they have logs and sticks and leaves. As they break down, they make a really nice soil. What we're doing here is it's gradually broken down into the base there, as you can see, so we're going to fill that up again. Unfortunately, we have lots of branches, logs to go in there, as well as some horse manure and various other things. Over here we have blackcurrants along there. Apple tree, chickens in the background, gooseberry, another apple tree there, another apple tree, some rhubarb and some more blackcurrants in there. That's a chokeberry just there, the dark leaves. So, yeah, that's the centre, which again is not complete. So yeah, where were we? Yes, 9 layers. So yeah, Mycelium, the aquatic. So we can go on to the trees, more trees, and we have shrubs will be in this one. Again, this is getting an overhaul. You'd have herbaceous. There's a bit of mix in here because we have root crops in here. This one, nothing in it yet. We'd have ground cover. In this one here, I tend to put any annuals that we have. There's a mixture really, actually. There's some ground cover in here, some annuals, and also some root crops. And over the climbers, tend to cut the trees now. So in the centre. Anyway, yes, so this is in a state of flux at the moment. Oh, this is our asparagus bed in there in this layer. Herbaceous. I've covered it because the pigeons keep coming in here and taking this kale, deemed kale. So there are more apple trees here. Blackcurrants. ongoing. So even if the forest is over 20 years old, it's always moving. And those are next door's dogs you can hear in the background. We don't have any dog anymore. Maybe that will change in the future. And we do have 3 cats. Of course, we still have a few areas that the children can play football in. And at the back here we have a lot of gorse. It's good for nesting birds, so we like to keep quite a bit of it. Plus we use it. You can smell that coconut now actually. Yeah, so we use the gorse for drinks, and you can eat those flowers. And around the side there, bees, which we'll show you another day. And then there's lots of young trees in here. And over there is Lock of May and the Course of May. And in here, so this is a recreational sort of area or relaxing area. Young trees are still growing up in here. Once they grow up, we will start to put more in here in terms of food. It's quite a damp field, this one, so we're putting what will be a willow maize come spiral in here, which will join the 2 fields together. This is only just in the beginning of being made, but we hope it would take some of the damp out of this area and create something interesting. So that's it for now. That's latest tour, May the 4th, 2026. Enjoy your day, whatever you're doing. Bye for now.